S&S Outfitter and Guides is made up of some of the most delightful and colorful characters. We wanted to paint a picture for you all as far as some of those personalities, the experience that they have, the values that they keep, and maybe even a little detail about how they spend their days during the off season. Could not think of a better place to start than with Ralph. Ralph is a camp manager here with S&S Outfitter and Guides and an absolute expert in the industry. He has over 40 years of experience hunting and guiding along the Grays River area. He also happens to be a fly fishing guide in the off season. Join us as we spend a day along the Snake River laughing and storytelling and getting to know a little bit more about Ralph. I've had a pretty rough day. I've been hanging out with Ralph. We've fished the Snake River, and we wanted to bring you a little bit of flavor as far as some of the characters of S&S, so here we are. Ralph, can you tell us how you even got to Wyoming?
I got out of high school and went for a road trip, and I ended up visiting in Yellowstone Park. But on the way up, I noticed snow-covered mountains, and this is in June. Wow. And I'm from Cleveland. It's like I never saw anything like that. That's when I fell in love with the mountains. Auto mechanic instructor at a vocational school. And a lot of people are made and do great jobs as far as teaching goes. You have to be a special person.
And are you
I'm not
one of those
that
people?
person. Okay. I hated teaching.
So
it gave me the opportunity to travel in the summertime.
Right.
So I actually wanted to move out of Cleveland someplace, and I used to come out west and ski, and I loved Colorado, Utah, Montana, and Wyoming, and I loved it all. So one summer after I was done teaching, I closed my eyes and I went like this on a map, and that's where I was going to go. But I had some buddies that were ski instructors at Teton Village here in Jackson. We fished and kayaked, and I hung out with those guys for about 3 weeks, and I went, I wonder if I get a job here. You know, it's a pretty neat place. And back then, it wasn't a resort. You know, it was a cute little cow town.
Sure.
So I worked at Teton Motors for a couple years until a production company came in town from California. So I went and talked to them, and they said they'd hire me, and they hired me, and I ended up being Brian Key's chauffeur.
How cool is that?
Yeah, and he was a really neat guy.
Yeah.
Interesting. So Charlton Heston's chauffeur was Bob Carter, and Bob owned a hunting business here up to Grovant and also in the Grays River. So Bob goes, so what are you going to do after this shoot? And he goes, why don't you try deer and elk hunting, guiding for me? And I said, Bob, I've never guided anybody, but I've been hunting all my life. And I tried it, and I'm still doing it to this day.
Holy cow.
It's a wonderful
So that was
industry
how it all
to be.
blossomed.
Yep. I started guiding for Bob down in the Grays River, like in '79, I think it was. That's when they did that movie. And I just fell in love with that country and the big bucks down there.
Wow. So what I know of you is for S&S, if we're going to teach any new guide or teach anybody that terrain, that territory, how to hunt the Grays River, you're the one.
Well, I'm the one to show them the country. Everybody has their own hunting techniques. Okay. But I love taking the guides out and showing them different trails and different mountains and different trails and stuff like that.
How to get there and where you cannot go.
Right.
It's all included.
They'll figure that out.
Okay. So how did you get your start with S&S?
I was guiding for Tim Haberberger out of the Box Y when Tim was interested in selling his hunting permit there. Once I purchased the hunting permit from Tim and Cindy, he kind of inherited me.
Okay, you're a gift with purchase.
Yeah, so to speak.
So what is your favorite part about being a guide?
I just love putting a smile on people's face. And the Grays River is one of those places where When you're hunting down there, you're going to know what the top of an eagle looks like when he's flying.
Okay.
So it's like
because of the elevation changes
you're hunting so high that the eagles and the hawks are below you.
holy cow.
So that's pretty cool right
Yeah.
there.
A heck
This
of
is
a
a
tree.
wonderful industry to be in, and you're outside.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this office that we're in
Yeah.
nowadays. It's spectacular.
And your office out on the river was not a bad view
No,
either.
that's good. That's good duty too.
Uh-huh.
You know.
So this is kind of just seasonal. You're doing S&S things during
Mhm.
the fall, and you're one of the managers up the Grays River.
Yep.
Okay.
Luckily, I get to work out of the Boxwhy Ranch. Pretty
What
special
a
place.
blessing. Yeah.
All the hunters get their own little cabin, beautiful lodge to stay in, and spectacular cooking.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
isn't
for
it?
sure.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And then your off season, if you will, starting in, is it April or way later in the year?
I'm finished in Yellowstone Park right around March 15th.
Okay.
After fishing season, it runs right into hunting season. I guide basically July and August, and then I go to the Boxwhy September and October. Yeah, life is good here. It's a fun industry to be in.
So if anything else that you could think of that you would want like the S&S audience to know about you, or even just tips and tricks, a word to the wise from,
Just come out and visit with us,
uh-huh.
and you'll get the thrill of your lifetime.
Yeah,
You know, it's a pretty special place.
very good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for your time and letting us look around
Oh,
and
my
showing
pleasure.
us everything.
Yeah.
And for the fishing today, that was a heck of
You
a
did
trip.
great.
Well, thank you. I
Yeah.
wasn't fishing for a compliment. I just was fishing for fishing.
You even caught a fish on a fly today.
Hey.
You know.
Well, thanks for joining us, folks. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. You're welcome to share, and we would love to have you follow along from here on out.
Bye. See you in Wyoming.
Bye.